If you're a homeschool mom, there's a good chance that you are sick and tired of all of the paper clutter all over your home. You are ready to find systems that will help you be set up for success and help you get some of that out of your house. But how do you know what to throw away? Today, we're going to talk through 3 things. We're going to be talking about daily what you can do to manage the paper clutter, what you can do for the short term, and what you can do for the long term. And I know you guys are going to be excited to hear about these ideas. So let's get started. When it comes to our daily needs, when it comes to managing all of that paper clutter, I have found it most helpful to make sure my expectations are known to my kids when it comes to where papers belong and don't belong. For this year, we started out with all 3 of my older kids having their own 2-inch binder that holds the majority of their school papers because I was tired of having separate binders and separate folders for different things. So this year we just have dividers that are dividing it out. And then as I get lessons or as they have different things, tests, whatever, they're going to print it out, they're going to put it in the binder. That helps get rid of a lot of the paper clutter that I was just finding here and there around the house. But the second thing that we have done, and we've been doing for a couple years now, is having a turn-in basket. So if your kids are working on something, it could be something simple like you ask them to do a word search or a maze, or it could be more in depth like an assignment, papers to grade, maybe it is tests that you need them to look over, whatever it might be, they're going to go put that in the turn-in basket. And when I see that there's things in the basket, I then know that that needs to be graded, and I do that at the end of the day. If you don't have a child who can manage a whole binder on their own and you need to kind of micromanage things for them, you can use things like an accordion file folder or a file crate system. This can be a great way to manage their paperwork for them, especially for younger kids. So with this, you can tear out sheets that you have in your workbooks or print out things that they're going to be utilizing, and then just divide them by day. So you can fill an accordion folder, maybe 24 days worth of things. So that'll last you like a month and a half. You'll have that planned out, and then each day you just go in and you grab out that next lesson. This is a really easy way to manage the papers, to keep them enclosed in one place, but also have them easily accessible to your child. What I personally recommend is if you're going with an accordion system, have them fill that out on a clipboard or at the table or whatnot, and then turn their papers in that same turn-in box. You can then decide what you want to do with it, and we'll get to more of what you should do here in just a second. So great, my daily papers are kind of taken care of, but what happens to those things that my kids want to keep around for a little while, for mementos, or that I need to keep around for my homeschool year? Well, let's tackle the issue of art. Art is a tough one. I have a lot of artists in my home. They love creating things, like cutting and gluing and painting and all of the things, and it can feel like it takes over in our home. And while this is not something that's unique to homeschoolers, I do think it is something that homeschool moms run into more often as our kids have more downtime and are more creative oftentimes because they have that ability to pour into those skills. Because of that, I developed some art storage systems that helped our family immensely. Each of my kids have these frames from Target or from Amazon, I've done both, that store artwork for them and display it. So the way it works is that each month we pick a piece of artwork that is just exceptional, that is absolutely extraordinary for that specific child. And then we will put that piece of artwork on display in our hallway. This creates a fun little gallery wall for our kids and is a way for them to be able to show off what they have done. When they complete that work, or when the end of the month, when they're getting ready to put in their next piece of artwork, I can then just store it within that frame. At the end of the year, it leaves me with only 12 pieces of art. And I'll explain what we do with that here in just a second. But you might be thinking, Katie, obviously your kids are creating way more than 12 pieces. What do you do with the rest? So instead of me being the bad guy and telling them when things need to be thrown away or when they didn't, we instead gave each of our kids a treasure box. This is simply and easily put a plastic container from Walmart, usually a Sterilite bin that fits underneath their bed. You can decide how big it is, whether it's a shoebox size, whether it's longer, shorter, whatever. But the idea is you get this treasure box, and you may put any of your treasures in there. You can put things you've drawn, you can coloring pages, anything like that, but usually it is paper things. Some of my kids enjoy putting extra things in there as well though. But once the box is full, now we have to throw away some of the stuff because we only have a limited amount of space. This allows the box to be the bad guy and not me. It allows them to really sift through and figure out what is most important to them. And it still honors the things that they've created by putting them in the frame for those things that are extra special. Another thing that I have run into with the short-term storage is that I need some of their work to be filed away in their binder. And while it sounds great to say that for their end of the school year work, I just file it away as they turn it in every single day. It's not horribly practical, nor am I usually going to follow through with that. So what I learned is I actually have 2 turn-in baskets now. One for their daily work, and that's just for me to grade and give back to them. And the second one is for things that need to be filed away in their homeschool records for next year. So this file basket can get fairly full at times, but once it gets full to the brim, I know I definitely need to make some time on a Saturday to pull it out and start pulling out samples to file away in their homeschool records. And what I do with this is I simply go through and I take a sample of every subject that my kids have, and I pull out something from the beginning, the middle, and the end, and file it away in this binder. We have one 3-inch binder that houses all 6 kids' records for that school year. If you want to see more about how I actually do this and like a walkthrough step by step, you can definitely check out the video down in the description. I'll leave it down there for you guys. But with this, essentially, it allows me to file away what's needed and to throw away the rest. That means that consumable workbooks, things like Explode the Code, or maybe it's like their spelling list, things like that, I'm gonna only pull out what is actually necessary to keep, so a beginning, middle, and ending sample, and then I'm going to pitch the rest, and I'm not going to feel guilty about it. This ensures that I have adequate records, and even though our state doesn't require record keeping, it gives me that peace of mind that were there to be anything in question, I could show proof that they have been doing school. But what about their long-term storage? What about after the year is over? How are you supposed to deal with what is left? Well, there's a couple of different methods that you can use. I started years ago getting one crate or one box, one file box for each of my 6 kids. Yes, that's a lot of boxes, but it is 1 box per kid for life. And the way that we have it divided is that in there is hanging file folders that have each of the grades from pre-K, kindergarten first, all the way through 12th grade in there. And it also has a special one for cards or achievements. Within this, I then take those 12 pieces of artwork that are so incredibly special and I will file them away in that year. So it gives me kind of a sampling of things. Or if I want to throw in there maybe a writing sample that they've done or a special achievement thing. A lot of times those go in my homeschool records, but anything else that is special to them or to me that I would like to save, I can file that away, and then when they move out, they can take that box with them, or I can pull out a few things and then they can decide what they want to do with the rest. I would give you a word of caution to really think through what you choose to save long term, because the fact is very little of it will you ever go back to. And I do think it's important to know the why behind why you're saving it. So if it is for records, then that's great, but they should be filed away appropriately and properly so you're able to access them. If it is for memory's sake, understand what criteria should lead you to that. Is there an explanation? Sometimes it can be helpful if you are going to save a child's piece of artwork or a picture or an assignment to maybe write a little sticky note and attach it with a paper clip that explains the date of when it was done and why it was so special, because most likely you're probably going to forget. Honestly, my favorite thing when it comes to long-term storage is to think about what can you take physically and transfer it over to a digital storage solution. You can scan artwork and assignments and documents into your computer. You can take pictures of your artwork and make digital file folders of those items for you to remember always without having any clutter in your home. You can even use things like Excel sheets and other items to help make better records for your home. If you want to know more about what you can utilize for organizing digital records and how you can help kind of calm the clutter that can be digital clutter, be sure to join my community, Made to Homeschool. I'm actually going to be doing a workshop and next week, and I cannot wait to share all about what we do for digital clutter, how we organize things, how you can figure out how to keep track of what you have, and I'll be answering your questions live there, and I would love to have you join me. I will leave links down in the description below for you guys to check it out.